Alright, everybody, welcome to a Horror Franchise Wednesday. Let's talk about Tremors 5. This is the point in the franchise where things seem to be going downhill pretty damn fast. This is from the same director of the next one and part 7, which I already reviewed and did not like. So, no surprise there. I didn't like 7. Seeing who the director of this one was, I was like, I'm probably not going to like this one either. Didn't like it. But, yeah. What do I like about this movie? Well, this will be quick. I like Burt, as always. He's still the only shining light in this movie, especially. He is the only thing that is remotely entertaining, and his character is very consistent. The continuity is here. I like the continuity of this franchise. It's fantastic. They all flow well into each other. You can watch them back to back and the story just keeps going. I like that Burt has his own show now, just like in part 2 when he was filming himself. He's basically like a Bear Grylls guy, survivalist. He has his own show, teaches you how to survive, how to kill graboids, and they have like this whole like show intro at the beginning where he shows you like the life cycle or the circle of life of the graboids, how they go from the eggs to the graboid to the shriekers to the ass blasters. It's smart writing to get you up to speed in case this is the first one you're watching for some reason. Now you're up to date. Acting overall is an improvement in this one. The other ones has some shaky acting here and there, but I feel like everybody in this movie does a good job. And I like the new look for the ass blaster. I did not like the ass blasters at all in part 3. And in this one, they update it. They give him a new face. It's more horror looking, lots of teeth. It looks like something out of like The Mist or something, just some alien creature. It looks awesome looking and actually scary. So now let's just get into the bad. CGI. Still can't stand it. I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but still, I would rather prefer practical effects. You've done it before. You can do it again. Quit getting lazy. And speaking of lazy, the humor, just like in part 7, not a fan of the humor here. The story is just getting very redundant. It's the same thing again and again. The only thing they can do to spice things up is give these monsters an upgrade, like, oh, now the tongues can detach, which is fine, but it's still the same story. They hire Burt. For some reason, they always go to Burt. Anybody can show up to Africa with dynamite or guns to kill them. Why does it always have to be Burt? It could be anybody. I get it. It's for us, the audience. We need to see Burt kill them, not just any other Joe Schmo. But it's just the same plot, and it's getting pretty tiresome at this point. And the whole antagonist, the human antagonist thing, which they did in part 7, same director, there's a theme going on here. He likes human antagonists in these movies where you don't need it. It's all about the monsters, not the humans. This human antagonist is poorly written. He's very dull. And the twist is very obvious. He's the mustache twirling piece of shit. And they reveal it very early on, like 25, 30 minutes into the movie. What it feels like just very soon. And then it goes absolutely nowhere. They could have played around with that, but they did nothing. Like, he's not an intimidating or a cool villain. As soon as he shows his hand, he's like dead the next scene. So what the fuck? And then they introduce this whole bloodline. He has a son now, and that's not even interesting. The way that's revealed, the way that's written, there's not anything interesting about that whatsoever. And their chemistry together with Burt and his son, I don't care for it at all. It's not a fun duo. They're back and forth. I didn't care about any of it. This one tries to be a little bit more horror than comedy at parts, and it just completely falls on its face, because it's poorly shot. All the attacks sequences in the movie are poorly shot. You don't know what the hell's going on. Like when that guy's getting attacked in the shower out in the middle of nowhere, that was just bad. And just like in part 7, this director likes to overuse slow-mo because he thinks it's cool and stylish, but it's like, come on, don't you have any other tricks up your sleeve? Do something else. And then this movie asks you to suspend disbelief in so many other scenes in the movie. It's like, we can suspend disbelief and accept that there's monsters, but now they're like, well, now you gotta accept this, and now you gotta accept this, and why this is happening, and how this is happening. And the whole lightning thing at the end, like, get the fuck out of here. What is this, Back to the Future? So overall, I was just kind of bored with this one. I wasn't entertained. I didn't care about Jamie Kennedy's character, that reveal, and how that all played out. The love triangle in the movie that really went nowhere at the end, where the chick ends up dating none of them. All that shit, all the character moments, the dialogue, the humor wasn't working for me. I was just bored. I didn't care for any of the attack sequences. That whole jump the shark moment at the end of the lightning thing was ridiculous. Burt is the only thing entertaining about this movie, and he's the only thing that's consistent in this movie. So when it comes to Tremors 5, Bloodlines, I gotta say this one for me was just wasted time. Time for the spoiler discussion where I nitpick and ask questions and talk about all the key scenes in the movie. So let's do this. Gummer, he has a show. We open up in Africa, so now they're everywhere. They were in South America in one movie. They're in every continent. So they're just spreading like a wildfire. And this guy falls like 25 feet deep into this hole. He's already got a cane when he's walking around, and then somehow just gets right back up from this fall and says, "Oh, I think I broke my foot." It's like, you should have broke every bone in your body the way you hit the ground. That was a deep fucking fall. There's no way. I mean, that guy was already fragile. The wind could have blew that guy away. Like, he's fragile as hell. It's like, get the hell out of here. There's another moment of disbelief. I like that we get to see a severed arm in here. It's trying to up the gore in a way, but this is really all... This is where the gore starts and stops. Right here. But that severed arm looked pretty real. Looked good. And then we get this whole like dirt bike montage thing. It's like, okay, it's like a music video now, and you think that's gonna come into play later on, like his bike skills, but not really. Like, he gets on the bike later on, and he just does like a sharp turn and like pushes the tongue thing up against the walls. Like, you don't need to be a expert on the bike to do that. Any jackass can do that. So it's like his skills never really are used in the films. Like, he just gets on the bike and does a simple maneuver that anybody can do. So we're just wasting time in the open showing all these cool stunts during a music video. It's just for style, and it's boring. It's like, let's fast forward through this. And so we get he's basically a similar character to Grady. He's the fanboy. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a big fan of you, Burt. I know everything." Or I guess Grady was talking to Earl. This is basically Grady 2.0 here, just even more, dull to me. I didn't care about him as a character. And he looks like he's gotten out of bed every single minute in this movie. He has bad hair, and yet somehow thinks he's gonna like get lucky with this beautiful woman looking the way he does. He's got a lot of confidence. And then we meet this Zach Galifianakis, but a little skinnier looking motherfucker in here, who ends up being the bad guy, the mustache twirler, and it's pretty obvious. And he gets a HK-91, I think, and it's the same gun that he lost to his wife when she left him. And I like that this evil guy, who, the bad guy, he calls this black guy dark chocolate, and nobody says anything. Nobody calls him out. Like, ooh, that seems racist. It's like, oh, this is my friend, dark chocolate. That's what I call him. So then Jamie, he eats the worm with little hesitation once he's told that it's African tradition. Once he eats the worm, they're like, haha, we're just joking. Isn't that funny? No, it's not, because it's been done in 1,000 films. Like, even Red Dawn did it back in, 84? Drink the blood of the deer you killed. It's tradition. Haha, just joking. It's not. That joke is over 35 fucking years old, and they're still doing it in Africa. So then we get this awful edited death with the shower. These two people whose only purpose in the film is to die, I guess. They discover the skeleton of a graboid, I guess, and then they die. Are they responsible for bringing them there? Like, they resurrected them somehow? I don't know what their purpose was in the film besides to die. And then we get the Jaws line. You're going to need a bigger boat, except he's like, you need a bigger cage. And so this guy sees the monster attacking a car, or I guess it's an ass blaster for you Tremors fans. I got to call it by the right name, right? The ass blaster is attacking the car, and this guy with his machete confidently walks up to it like, I got this. Like, I can take this thing off with this machete. It's like, this guy's got balls of steel. And the ass blaster uses him as bait. That seems kind of out of character for these monsters. I mean, yeah, they get smarter than some of the other ones, but this is a new level. Like, they're using him as bait on the bridge. And then this one guy, Johan, where the fuck his name is, this British sounding guy in Africa who claims he's African, he's an asshole to Burt? Is it like some kind of competition thing? Like some kind of masculinity thing? Like, I gotta prove I'm the bigger man, I'm better than you. It's just not needed in the movie. He's just being an asshole for no fucking reason. He's annoying, and I'm glad he got killed. And once he's killed, no one bats an eye, no one shows remorse. It's like it didn't even happen. Like, the thing gets shot in the sky, blows up, and lands on him right after he's like, aha, see, I'm untouchable. Another lame joke. See, that's the humor in here, and it doesn't work for me. And then we get this obligatory moon shot that you always get in horror movies. You gotta have that full moon. Ever since Friday the 13th, everybody's been doing it. And then we get this hard cut joke, like, I'm not gonna do that. Hard cut. Boom. It's like, I'm not gonna go in that cage. Hard cut. He's in the cage. And then somehow Jamie Kennedy finds him. He gives this quick explanation about how it's like, I saw you through the camera or something, but how did you pinpoint his location? He used to work for the CIA, he said. But then here's another jump the shark moment, like, so stupid and ridiculous. Like, Burt would be dead after this. So we basically get like a Fast and Furious 5 moment here where Jamie ties the cage to the back of his truck and drags him around in this cage that's like flipping and shit, and then it ends up like falling into like a ditch, landing on rocks, and then he walks up to the cage and simply like pulls a latch and it's open, like that. Why couldn't he do that before? It's not like there was a graboid or any monster on their ass at that moment. Like the monitor, whatever he had in his hand, like, it went off. He was like, oh my gosh, something's coming. But it wasn't there at that moment. He had a few seconds to simply open that damn cage and let Burt out. But instead, he dragged him around like John Saxon at the end of Nightmare Beach. He died in that one. This character, Burt, he should have been fucking dead after that. There's no way. And then we get this obvious Jurassic Park, homage, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'll call it theft. And because I don't like the movie, it's theft. If I liked the movie, I'd be like, oh, we get this cute little callback to Jurassic Park with the kitchen scene and the shot of the feet walking around, and, except the nails not clicking on the ground or whatever. We get a Jurassic Park moment in here, and yeah. This movie would have been a lot better if they killed some kids. This kid, she's safe, and she somehow steals an egg. Like, all these eggs are in this cave miles away. But she somehow got one there and dragged it all the way back to camp without getting attacked somehow? Bullshit. That does not make sense. We find out that the tongues detach, which is okay, I guess, something new. And we get a call back to Burt's line in part 2 where he's like, I feel like I've been denied critical information. One joke that did make me laugh was Jamie Kennedy's character when he's quoting Die Hard, except changing it to fit this movie. He's like, just go to Africa, have a few laughs, explore some caves. Like, I forget what he said, but he basically took that line right out of Die Hard. And then they were going to take a line from Predator, you ugly motherfucker, but they made it PG-13 in this one, and he said, you ugly bitch, or something. It felt like they were trying to pay homage to Predator, but they're like, wait, we're PG-13, we can't say fuck. It's like, you can say it once, I thought, but I guess not in this one. And so then the helicopter comes to help them out, and that doesn't work out, just like in Jaws 2, the people get taken out right away. But then just like in Tremors 2, I think, or 3, 2 or 3, when Burt got swallowed, you thought he was dead, but then he comes back. The helicopter pilot guy, he gets swallowed, but then he comes back, he's covered head to toe in all the innards of the graboid, and then hard cut the next scene, he's like almost completely dry. It's like bullshit. That is some continuity errors galore. That is just bad. It's just like in Jaws of Revenge when Michael Caine gets out of the water, bone dry. It's like, are they even trying to pay attention to the continuity at all? And then we get the sun reveal, which I could give a shit less about. It does nothing for me in this movie. I like how the gas clerk was just quietly dying in the corner so that he could surprise this woman for a scare. She's like walking around the store, nothing is making a noise, and then all of a sudden she's got someone grabbing her legs who's being eaten alive, and then he starts screaming like, ah! He would have been screaming before she ever walked in that fucking store. That's just So dumb. It's just for scare's sake, and it's ridiculous. I like how the dirt bike that Jamie Kennedy is driving is somehow faster than the graboid. Have they watched the other films? Oh wait, the director of this movie didn't. Yeah, I read that. The director did not watch any of the sequels. I don't think he even watched the first one. And yet, I got shit for reviewing part 7, having only seen part 1. How about you give this guy some shit? Hey, Tremors fans, send your hate mail to the director of 5, 6, and 7, because he didn't watch the other ones before he made a movie. So fucking hate on him. Another moment where I kind of had to roll my eyes, because it was just kind of convenient, where they set up the signal, she shoots the bow and arrow in the sky, and he like looks up at the right time in the right direction to see the signal so he knows what to do. Like, bullshit. And then the whole lightning thing, like in Africa, they know when the lightning's going to strike and where, like the clock tower and Back to the Future, so they set this thing up real quick. They're pounding things into the ground, which you would think would attract the monster to them, but nope, it's just too busy chasing Jamie Kennedy. And then it gets into the circle, and it gets struck by lightning like twice, so I guess lightning does strike the same place twice. If anybody ever tells you it doesn't, tell them to watch this movie, and tell them to watch Friday the 13th Part 6, because they're wrong. The Hockey Mask Award for Best Character in this movie is Burt. Once again, he's the only thing that was remotely entertaining for me in this film, and the Yankee Award for Worst Character in this movie is the guy who hated Burt for no well-known reason to me. I didn't understand what the hell his problem was. He's an asshole. Glad he's dead. And the Funny Bone Award for funniest moment in this movie was the Die Hard reference that Jamie Kennedy made when he was exploring the caves. And the Clapper Award for best scene in this movie is the bridge scene where the guy's being used as bait and that asshole gets killed by the falling ass blaster. And those are my thoughts on Tremors 5 Bloodlines. Put all your thoughts of this movie in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen and you want to see more, hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.